Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Medium Kim. Uh, Happy to see you today. Hope you're doing okay. I am here to talk about a hospice story and also maybe talk a little bit about hospice. I am a medium, psychic medium, and I've been working in hospice for over 20 years. And so I have some what I think are wonderful stories to share about what happens to us as we transition. And so this is just one of the stories that I have. And also I want to talk about what I would consider the top 5 myths. Can you understand me? Myths about hospice. All right. Okay, thank you. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the daily energy routine, I highly recommend it because it will help you feel better. And I will, do videos on self-care as well, because I think that's really important, especially in this day and time for those of us who are empathic, sensitive to energies, and need a little extra assistance in keeping our energies in the light and in joy. So thank you. So this story, first of all, is about a man named Eric. He's 51 years old. He is a retired physician, dying from alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, and his ex-wife and daughter are his caregivers. He moved in with them once he got sick. He did have to retire and from his sickness, and he also did stop drinking, so that was remarkable too. So anyway, beautiful man, a handsome man. And I walk in on a Saturday as an on-call nurse, and he's already in a coma, barely responsive. His respirations are about 8 a minute. And, he's getting excellent care from his family. So, but when I walk in as a medium, I'm feeling his mom and dad right there in the room. And so I said to the family, I said, wow, I wonder if his mom and dad are here. And they said, I bet they are, and I said, well, I kind of feel them. And they said, well, give us more, tell us more details. And so what I could see in the spirit world, as he was in a coma, I could see the spirit world getting ready for his arrival. There was outside lots of tables set up with fruit. I could especially see fruit. And apparently his dad likes fruit. And I saw children and people. His mom was wearing a long white lace dress, almost like for a wedding. And then his dad was wearing a black suit. Now, I will say, when I've seen this before, when they are dressed up in a formal attire, then I know it's within 24 hours that that person is going to transition. Because when I see them otherwise, they aren't dressed up. They're just in their regular casual clothes. And then, so they're getting ready. It is a party. It's a welcoming committee. They're excited to see each other. They're getting all the details done. And his mom and dad are apparently the party leaders. Okay. So that was, beautiful. And then the family tells me that he loved to party. He was the life of the party. He also liked Super Bowl. The next day was Super Bowl. So I'm thinking to myself, he'll probably go on Super Bowl during the game. And so then I do arrive the next day, and I arrive at 5 o'clock as I requested, which is a little unusual because as an on-call nurse, I can't always, I cannot guarantee when I'm going to be somewhere. We get a call and you have to run out, but it did work out. Yay, the stars were aligned. I get to be there at 5 o'clock just as the Super Bowl party was starting, our Super Bowl game, I mean. Okay. And that day, on that Sunday, his respirations had actually gone up. They went to 11 a minute instead of 8, and they were steady all day. But you could tell by the look in his skin and everything that he was definitely hanging on by a thread. And one of the things he was most worried about was leaving his girls and like who was going to take care of his girls. And he was very protective of his wife and daughter. So it's he didn't want to leave them. That was, and that is often a concern, for the person leaving, is who's going to take care of my family. So anyway, they asked me if I could, tune in, check in, like what's going on, why is he hanging on, just by a thread. I mean, really barely. Each breath was like that low. Okay. I don't know if you can even see that, but it was such a low breath. Anyway, so I put my hands, just checking his energy field, check it out. And from his waist down, I feel nothing. Over his heart, I feel a lot of swirling, almost like a tornado kind of energy. And it felt to me like he didn't know, he was like spinning, didn't know where to land. And maybe he was just sort of in limbo, waiting, for the right time to make his final last breath. So I talk to the energy, and I use my left hand. When I'm working with chakras, I would usually use my left hand, and I meet the energy, and I move it, and I slow it down, and I talk to it, and I try to calm it and calm it and calm it down. And finally I felt like I got it kind of calmed. And then I noticed there was 4 angels around, a light blue, a neon green, like a golden yellow, and a white angel. And they were like 4 sides of him. And I told the family and him, I said, there are 4 angels here. You will not make a wrong turn. They are guarding you in your travels. And I said, everybody is ready. Everything's taken care of. And so then I used a very, what I call commanding voice. And I said, it's time to go. And I said it 3 times. It's time to go. It's time to go. And we just stepped back, and like magic, it was magic. He went from 11 breaths a minute to 0. And a very quiet, magical, we stepped back. We let his spirit fly out. Once we knew it was out, after a couple minutes, I felt like it was really gone. Then we came in, and we, just crying and hugging him, and, what you do when somebody passes. So anyway, it was very magical. And as I'm waiting for the funeral home to arrive, I tune in again. What's going on at the party? And I see him standing. He's going table to table. He's sitting down. He's telling his stories about what happened in his life. It's like, hey, let me tell you what I just have been up to, right? And even though probably they already know, but he needed to talk about it. And how they talk, is probably telepathic. I don't know, but it felt, it's just a feeling of being able to talk to each other. And I could see him just, being greeted, and also being the star of the party and going table to table. So it was really beautiful. So I just want to leave you with that story, but I also want to show you, or do a little, this book here, The Last Breath. And I have 1 chapter in it. This is a compilation book by, excuse me, mediums from around the world. But the reason I'm showing you this, I'm actually making my own book right now, but I'm going to read one little part as a message for you guys, okay? And then I'm going to go to the 5 common myths of hospice. So I'm just going to, it's like a biblio reading. So something I learned from one of my teachers, Allison Gannon, you just pick a page. I'm picking a page from, I have no idea what page I'm picking. I'm going to pick it for you guys, and I'm going to read something in here. Okay, here we go. The spirit of Escaliar, and this is page, chapter 23. This is what I'm going to read, the last paragraph here. The loving bond between souls can never be destroyed. It surpasses physical death. And that love acts as a conduit between the physical world and the spirit world. We can communicate with our loved ones in this other world by using the language of our heart and souls. We can hear, see, feel, and sense their messages of love beyond the bounds of time and space. And sometimes their messages can come through in the most unexpected ways. This was the case with my dad. So I'll just leave you with that. Okay, so that's a great little message there. Now, oh yes, here we go. I have too many books in front of me. So what I consider the 5 most common hospice myths, and this is after my 20 plus years working in the field as a nurse, bedside. 1, morphine is used to hasten death. Okay, first of all, morphine is used for pain, and it's not hospice philosophy to hasten nor hold back somebody's passing. Somebody's passing is a natural transition. Morphine is used because as we are dying, we have more pain. That's why. And it's never a big enough dose to cause an overdose. Okay, that's number one. Number two, my family starved to death. My family member starved to death. Well, what happens is as we are dying, we don't want to eat. And it's not that we're not dying because we're not eating. We're not eating because we're dying. We don't need food anymore at that phase of our life. It's actually more of a burden to try to digest and all that, and it can actually make you sick. Okay, if you force yourself to eat when you're not hungry. All right. And three, they are suffering if they can't get out of bed. Well, imagine if you had the luxury of just staying in bed for a few days or a week or maybe a year even. I don't know. I mean, I think a year is a long time to stay in bed, but there can be pain. That's again why we use pain medicine. But usually they're enjoying this time of just relaxing. And just because they're not out playing golf doesn't mean they're suffering. Okay, it's kind of like being in a meditation, a long meditation. All right, number four, we need IV food and fluid hydration to prevent feeling discomfort. Actually, it's opposite, because if you were to do IV food and fluids, you're probably going to be more comfortable because it will go into the third spacing and cause edema. So no, you keep your mouth moist. If you're worried about discomfort, it's about keeping the mouth moist, and you just use water, toothpaste with water in the mouth. Okay, number five, it's okay to stop meds once they can't tell you if they are in pain or short of breath. All right, so one is just because they can't tell you that they're in pain or not, doesn't mean that they aren't. So you continue with whatever you were doing before, the same protocol you were doing before they stopped being able to communicate. I hope these things mean something to you. I would love to have some feedback, questions. I'd love any kind of questions. I have other things I'd like to share, so I hope you decide you'd like to hear more, subscribe, and share. Thank you.